There's this question about whether we've overly gotten confident about the soft landing. And I look back at history, and there are only 3 soft landings where the Fed has orchestrated a rate cut coming down from high rates where you haven't seen a recession. That was not the case in 2008, 2001, 1989, 1981, 1980, 1970, 1960, and 1957, even though it looked like it was going to be a soft landing. How confident are you that this time the soft landing thing isn't a head fake?
Well, I think part of what's happened in markets is that we went from pricing in no risk of recession to some risk of recession, and it happened very quickly, which is why we got that sort of hiccup in markets, maybe a month or so ago. I still think soft landing is the overall sort of base case. But I do think that the Fed has a role to play. I mean, when I hear people saying that, well, maybe they should string out a bunch of 25 basis point moves between now and the summer, I think that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, the fact that core inflation is running below 2%, frankly, if you look at it since last summer, we've been below 2% annualized on a monthly basis most of the time, believe it or not. To me, that suggests that they're already too tight. So going 50 on the first go is not a particularly big risk because we know that they're way above neutral. And if you string out a bunch of 25s, getting back to neutral will take a long time.
Okay.
And that puts the economy at risk in the process because it would mean that you'd be running a restrictive policy stance in the interim period.
Just quickly here, Neil, does this mean that if the Fed were to cut 50 basis points, and every analyst that I've read says that probably risk assets would sell off immediately on the knee-jerk reaction of a 50 basis point rate cut, you'd be saying this is the time to go buy?
Absolutely, because it tells you the Fed's trying to get in front of the 8 ball. I mean, there's nothing about the economy that the Fed knows that the rest of us don't. They don't have an edge like that significantly. This is more about them coming to recognize that's something the rest of us already do, namely that the unemployment rate's gone up and that inflation's slowed.